What is up everyone, welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at something that always gets me super hyped and excited, and that of course is a high grade Iron Blooded Orphans kit. Well, a master grade would get me a lot more excited, but I guess we'll see how that pans out in the future. Anyway, this right here is the high grade Asmoday, or as it's called in Japanese, and what I prefer, the high grade Asmodeus. So yeah, our high grade Iron Blooded Orphans kit's the greatest high grades around? Definitely not, but are they awesome cool in pretty much every aspect? Well, I think so. The designs are off the charts. This one here drips with some awesome colors, designs, and has a little bit of a mauve love flair around its head. This thing I love, especially because it's purple and chartreuse. That's one hell of a combo. Anyway, as usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those absolutely awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan. So if you want one of these kits of your own, the link will be down there in the description. Now, I will mention as usual, if you don't get pre-orders in early, it might be hard to actually secure yourself newer gunpla. So I would say check out the pre-orders early to try and get what you're looking for. Anyway, let's jump right on in. So anyway, jumping right on in with the build of this kit, and I love the build of the high-grade Iron Blooded Orphans kits. I really feel this did spur off a lot of different kind of lines, like 30-minute missions, even the Kyokai Senki kits, and it feels like a progenitor to quite a lot. This features a full internal frame, which is cool. What isn't so great is these haven't aged so well, so that does mean there is a lot of extra effort you will have to do. So every time I do one of these high-grade Iron Blooded Orphan kit reviews, I have to say, make sure to do these few modifications while you're building it, and it'll make you a very happy high-grade Iron Blooded Orphans owner. 1. Inside the torso, we have a kind of joint between the two AHAV wave reactors. Now you want to glue both of those together with some plastic cement so that they actually hold, because when you actually ab crunch these kits, that eventually pops and loosens up. The second one is, and I'm really sad I didn't actually get to do this for the review, is I say hit this with a matte top coat. If you really feel like it, hit every individual part before putting it together with a matte or gloss top coat will do too, but make sure to do that. If you're going to do it at the very least, make sure to do it on all of the individual elements of this kit when they're separated. I'm talking take off the feet, take off the legs, separate the waist unit from the torso, the head, take that off, take off the backpack, take off the two arms, and then hit it all with a top coat. That will tighten up all the joints and get rid of any issues that you'll have with these kits and make it look absolutely spectacular, especially if you hit it with the matte. Will look painted, will look premium. Sadly, I did not get to do this time around with this kit because it would have put off this review one more day, and I really want to get to building and trying this thing out. This is the Strange Works Frosty Cat, and I'm really excited about that, and I know some of you guys are too, and I've got that underneath it as well that I need to do soon too, so yeah, just didn't get the time, but I will be top coating this once I have the review finished, because otherwise, it's not going to stand up. Anyway, on to the aesthetics. So jumping right on into the full 360 spin, and I love and adore this kit. It is so beautiful. The chartreuse just pops off of that nice gray and the purple details on this. But before I actually gush too much about this, I will mention that this is crazy heavy on the stickers. So this is the case a lot of the time with Iron Blooded Orphans high grades. I wish Bandai would either color separate them a little bit more or just kind of make the designs a little less detailed so they're worked out in plastic. Now, I usually do not use stickers, I don't like them at all, but mixing up that chartreuse would be quite difficult, considering the amount of paints that I actually have at my disposal, and I really didn't want this kit without them. So there's a spin of what this kit will look like without any of the stickers and without any of the panel lining. So if you're not going to do those steps, this is what you're going to get. There's a lot of letdown aspects about this. It's mainly because there is a lot of the chartreuse and purple missing off of the build. But the other thing is those cool grates that are inside of the legs, also the joint looking parts on either side the knees, all of those are not color accurate, and that does look a bit lousy. Now I hit this kit with the extra thin type panel liners just to get it all done quick, the usual way I do, which is just let the ink flow through them and wipe it all off with a alcohol-soaked rag afterwards, and this is what I got. I did stick on the stickers too, not all of them, but most of them, especially those greeny ones because I love them, and in the end, this is a very nice kit, but it will need at least some extra effort to get it looking reasonably good. So anyway, there she blows, and like I mentioned, I didn't get the chance to actually top coat this, so that does mean a lot of its rickety, falling around kind of not greatness is still intact. Once again, I highly recommend top coat this kit on all of its elements to save you all of that hassle, or at least just paint the joints. Either way, yeah, out of the box, a little bit jank. So just a little bit of a warning to those of you who do not like stickers all that much, besides the fact that this is littered with them. The eye sticker on this is actually one of those rare cases where the two eyes are separate, so you have to line up one eye on that inner little grey face part, and then line up the other one too. I know some people can find this a little bit on the difficult side, I used to, but yeah, just try and line it up with the lines on the plastic is all that I can suggest. Now, as for the other stickers on here, every ounce of purple, that kind of purple that you're seeing on the legs there and the tonfas around the back of the arms, every single ounce of that is a sticker. Actually, there's a quick look at all the stickers that come in here. There's a lot and I did not even use them all. I didn't use any, well, most of the darker ones at all. These ones here are meant to go on the sides of the knees inside of the leg here. Those only really become apparent when you bend the knees. All these ones right here, those are some of the worst. See the flaps are on the back of the legs? That is what those are for. That's a big letdown. Those should be in a dark color. And speaking of letdowns, there isn't even a sticker for these little grills on the side. So I just panel lined those using one of these poor style Gundam markers. And then I kind of just rub the top of those then with a bit of a rag with alcohol on it. Just a little bit in order to kind of get the detail out because that looks so nice. It's so sad that that isn't a separate darker piece of plastic. And speaking of outright plastic disappointment, by the way, that totally looks like a Movlov suit right there. Just kind of like a really big buff one, especially the head. That's cool. But anyway, speaking about plastic disappointment, I don't even want to go through the chartreuse parts on this that are actually stickers, so I'm just going to go the other way around and tell you the parts that aren't. So these aren't a sticker, these are very nicely molded, these little grills in the front of the legs. Around here on the back of the feet, those are actual plastic parts, which is nice. And the parts up on the head, those are actual plastic as well. Now, I will mention the purple on the top of the head right there. Sadly, that is also a sticker. So once again, there's the full spin of what this looks like when it's out of the box without any of these attached. So once again, keep this in mind. It will require a lot of extra work. Anyway, let's check out what it comes with. Wait, but first, I nearly almost forget the size comparisons. Here we go. Question time! So in the high-grade red frame inversion video, I asked you guys, do you have any questions about this particular kit? So I'll get to some of them right now and some of them later on. First off, currently all my high-grade IBO kits are in storage besides these handful that I have right here. So that does mean I have the Barbatos Lupus, the Hejiro Boshi, and this bit of a kit patch that I painted in Guts from Berserk colors. So these are the only ones I have at hand right now. So that also leads to this question right here. And the answer is all of them, but I don't have them at hand. They're in a box and I can't get to them right now. And yes. And as for a little bit more of a normal size comparison, there it is beside a lineup of kits which include the high-grade Freedom Gundam, the high-grade RX-78-2, and the high-grade Gundam F91. Now on to another question. Now this question by Freak Show 535 is actually great, and that is whether or not this is the original Calamity War version of Asmoday or not. And according to the instructions right here, it most certainly is. So I'm not sure if I can get that to be kind of clear enough to read. That should do it right there. So yes, this is the original format, and apparently it had never gone into battle. Fred Designs 2 asked, could I compare this with the Astaroth Origin? So my Astaroth Origin is put away, but I can actually sort of compare it. So that right there is the head on this. It's big, square, and over the top. But I do have this handy, which is the Astaroth Origins head, because I really do love the Astaroth Origins. So it is very, very similar, kind of square. And there they are side by side. And this is almost impossible to like because they're pretty much polar tonal opposites. Well, not tonal, light opposites. One is black, the other is white, but they're very, very similar. This head, a whole lot bigger. Now jumping into the accessories, and here's the high-grade Asmoday with absolutely everything that it comes with. And just like we always see with Iron Blooded Orphans, this is a host of awesome physical weaponry. No beams, no beam rifles, just pure bullets and metal. I love it. Let's check it out. So before moving into the actual accessories that we have in here, there is one minor complaint I have about this particular Gundam right here. And that is the fact that we do not get any kind of alternate hands in here. The only thing that we get is a standard set of holding hands, and that is it. Now, I do know there are sold separately kits, or should I say option sets, in which you can actually get some of these hands in, but sadly, that is something sold separate, and I'm not sure how available they are these days. Next up in here, we've got the pair of tonfas, and we do have an option for these as well. Actually, there's multiple things we can do here. First off, to attach it on the back of the arm, we do have two little holes. So first off, these can either be attached rear facing or forward facing, but we'll go with the rear, which seems to be the standard storage with this kit. So what it says in the instructions right here about the Grand Tonfas is, these are the main armaments of the Asmoday, which are equipped on its arms. The Tonfas have explosive firing mechanisms, which can be shot into targets at point-blank range to penetrate all kinds of armors. The cartridge cases are discharged after every shot. Doesn't mention it here, but these can be pointing forward or backwards, and according to the wiki, backwards for killing mobile armors, forwards for killing mobile suits. As for swapping the parts out in these, it's quite simple. You just pop off the upper segments just like so, and we've got a long part and a short cap. That's how you do it, simple as. So there is no extending or retracting mechanism, but they still look awesome. When it's time to extend the range a little bit, the Gundam Asmoday has a, well, aptly called rifle. That's it, it's just called rifle. And according to the instructions right here, this is a 110mm caliber middle range rifle. The waist skirt armor on the mobile suit has a mounting mechanism, and its short size allows the tonfas to be used without interference. That is very self-explanatory right there. This attaches into the hand quite simply, just slides on in like so, because there is no little thick part at the end of the handle or anything like that, so you don't have to remove the tip of the hand. Or should I say the back of the hand, not the tip. It's a simple and effective little rifle. It's just all in grey, has some decent detail on it, and I feel like I've seen this somewhere before, but that just could be the case of it being an Iron Blooded Orphans weapon, but hey, it looks cool. When this is not in use, it can be mounted around on the butt flap. This is pretty simple. Just open up this little segment here. It seamlessly opens up, hook it in like so, and then close it up. This actually holds on quite well as long as it is closed all the way up. And yeah, that's not going to be going anywhere, and I love being able to mount weapons on the unit. Next up in here, we've got the Gigant Javelin. Now, according to the instructions, this says, as its name implies, the javelin can be thrown. The sword section has a built-in thruster mechanism and is connected to the handle with a wire. It is a close medium range armament that can also be used like a sword. Once again, attaching this weapon is super simple because you do not have to remove the back of the hand. It just slots and slides on in, simple as. There we go. And there's a quick look at what it looks like under normal light in case the fun light from a little while ago was driving you mad. It's in the usual inner frame gray. Now, unlike what we would have seen with this so far, you cannot mount it anywhere on the mobile suit, but we do have a cool option of being able to slide off the blade like this and use it as a wired weapon. So I'm not sure if this was actually on purpose or not, but we do actually have the little connection parts of plastic for this particular weapon duplicated on the runner, so it means you don't have to keep reattaching and unattaching the wires. That's cool. So we remove this segment of the blade and this segment of the handle. I'll have to admit, these are so flush I had to check the instructions twice for what part to remove. Then we just reattach back on the parts that have the wire attached. That one was simple. And so was that one. That's a nice mechanism. Question time! And Bastian Johnson asked whether or not this can actually support the weapon or not. So let's find out. So let's see. So far it's feeling okay. I will mention in the instructions, they did mention you can use a stand for this. So let's see how the arm is holding up. Here we go. Can the Asmodeus hold it up? Not really. This is the shoulder joint that is failing, not actually the weapon itself, even though this feels like it could be a little bit better. Bounce it, and it will bend. So like I mentioned already, I do recommend top coating these kits so they actually are a little tougher. That will help with the shoulder joint. As for the wire, it isn't so bad, but as you can see here in the instructions, it does recommend using this with an action base, but I think you could pull it off without it in tight, close kind of poses like what you're seeing right now. Also, we'll mention there is one aspect about these kind of weapons that does drive me a little bit bonkers, and that is because Bandai put a circular peg in a square hole. So that means the arm, even when you can make it support this, it's just going to roll inside of the hand all of the time, and that sucks. So we've got a couple of questions on the actual kit itself as well as the compatibility. So first up, Ramiro asked about the Gundam frame. So the only thing that changed in here is the inner frame for the new feet and the new shoulders. Everything else on the frame is exactly what we would have seen before, so gonna be loose. And Mamoru Hasukage asked about the side skirts. So the side skirts we have here are, well, again, top coat this. Well, we've got these kind of little smoke grenades here. These don't do much at all, but yes, this is the exact same polycap we would have seen with the Hajiroboshi. So this, I actually never really realized, is not compatible with a lot of the older Gundam frames that are out there. So yeah, you could steal Hajiroboshi's parts and attach them onto this. Anyway, articulation time. So finally jumping onto the articulation now, and as I mentioned so many times ad nauseum throughout this review, this kit is very, very loose out of box. It is par for the course for Iron Blooded Orphans kits, and it will only get looser over time. Top coat or paint, and that will save the day entirely. Let's check it out. So this is 100% what we would have seen before, so polycap giggity giggity neck, giving you up, barely, down, only a little bit, and side to side would go all the way around, and we have a little bit of a tilt. Quite basic. Shoulder polycap joint is aligned to move up and down. We've got a ball inside of that, so we get the full roll, the full 360-degree spin. The shoulder moves separately to the arm, and there is the arm all the way up. So Asmodeus right here can lift it very, very high. We've got the full spin at the upper arm. We've got a single point bend, which only gets us about 90 degrees or so. I haven't mentioned it throughout the review so far, but I love the way that we've got dark gray for the forearms. It looks really cool. Anyway, there is the ball joint for the wrist. Does what a ball joint does. The ab crunch here is a combination, so we've got a little bit of a tilt up top, not a whole lot, and a ball joint down below doing the rest. So that gives you the full roll, forward, back, side to side, and it can pop out quite often, spin around like so. While it's backwards, this little thruster segment can move up and down like that, which is cool. Front skirting armor is just up like so, that's about it. I will mention this right here and this right there. Those are stickers in case I forgot to mention it. Inside the waist, we've got a little bit of a forward and back in there. That is it. Butt flap does not move. These just rotate on an axis and can move down and up like so. There is a kick all the way up to the front, so not too bad. Out to the back a little bit blocked. We've got the full splits right there. So the knees on this are a bit complex, so I'm actually going to pop off the leg like so. And by complex, I mean they're kind of janky. So if you just try and bend them, they will catch at that point, which is next to nothing really. What you actually need to do is kind of bend them, not like that, so this little segment pops out, and then you get a little bit more. But even at that, not a whole lot. We've got the ball down here at the ankle. We've got a bending toe at 2 points. It bends down like so. The feet are actually a kind of claw, which we'll take a look at in a second, but let's test out the functional movement on the ground. So anyway, all the way to the front with the bend at the toes, we can get it to about there. Well, yeah, 2 there. And then all the way out to the back, we can get to, no, to there, that fell off. All the way to the back, that's it. And then the side to side is that crazy Iron Blooded Orphans barrel pivot like so. We do have these little claw segments in the bottom of the feet, but as a little alarm to realize that this is kind of like a, well, not a parts formation, but a kind of weird pull apart, reattach in kind of jigger. They are easy enough to grab onto and pull out, but, you know, it would have been nice to have a little bit of a hinge or something, not having to reattach them in like so. So there we go. There is the foot as a claw, which is kind of cool and reminds me a little bit of the GLs a little bit. That's cool. Very bird-like, especially with these feathery looking parts. Actually, cannot unsee bird. And there's what it looks like attached for those who are curious. Big old claw feet. They can be used for grabbing enemies or apparently grabbing onto, I guess, the surface, rocks, you name it. So when it comes to the articulation, this is par for the course for an Iron Blooded Orphans kit, which is not great. Not really all that great at all. All looks, but not so functional really. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I'm going to give this silver tier because I'm completely and utterly biased towards loving these kits. Well, if you're going to straight build this kit, you're going to have a bad time. That is pretty much the end of it. If you're going to at least put a little bit of time into it, you're going to get an absolute beauty, because that's exactly what this is. It's a gorgeous kit that needs that extra bit of work. When you take the aesthetics, the silhouette and the detail is here, but the color is not. That is the only real down point. If you're going to detail this up yourself, it will look spectacular. At the end of the day, it's better to get the detail than the color. When it comes to the accessories in here, these are really cool. These are your typical Iron Blooded Orphans, over-the-top, heavy metal weapons. However, once again, the color accuracy is not the greatest, the wire is a little bit weak, and the sword will roll in the hand because it's a circular peg into a square hole. So again, could be better. And when it comes to the articulation and the general stability of the kit, once again, I said it over and over again, top coat it, top coat it, top coat it before you put it together, or before at least you put the limbs onto it. That will save you a whole lot of hassle. But besides that, out of the box, it's loose, unreliable, and again, bad time. So yeah, at the end of the day, if you love Iron Blooded Orphans high grades and you know exactly what you're getting, then you know what you're getting, and you will like this kit if you love them. I guess that makes sense. I do. So to me, this is a biased silver tier, but to a lot of other people, I believe this would probably be bronze. I'm just putting it through my IBO fanboy filter, that's all. Anyway, as always, if you do want one of your own, link in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll be seeing you next time. As always, this video and none of these videos would be possible without each and every one of you watching these videos, including those of you who are supporting me on the channel memberships and over on Patreon, including VanFon, OG59061, Lawrence Seahack, Kill Me Inc., Joseph Kukluk, Joe, Gunpla UK Limited, Global Frequency Studios, Forsetti, Caleb Engelhart, and Craig Jerry.